Please welcome the executive producer, director, and star of The Lost City, Andy Garcia, everybody.
I want to introduce some of the people who are here with me today that are very important to me and a very strong part of this film. And I think I have everyone here. First and foremost, the gentleman who made the movie possible. I introduced him before, Mr. Johnny Lopez. Johnny, step forward, please, and take a seat. Or next to him, the gentleman who played the choreographer in the movie, Mr. William Marquez, who played Rodney. Behind him, my brother in the movie, Luis Fayove, the great Mr. Nestor Carbonell. Behind him, hiding an actor who probably is going to go down, I think, as one of the quintessential personifications of the character of Che Guevara, I think, ever in film, Mr. Jesus Garcia. Michael Donnelly, who's the post-supervisor and associate producer on the film, who's been a great loyal friend in the process. Mr. Gary Shapiro, who's been a hidden treasure for us always in the battle to get this movie seen and marketed and shown. He's been a great champion. Mr. Joe Drago, my associate, my co-producer and longtime associate, right there stepping up. Also played Shotgun Joe in the film. What's that?
Save their applause till the end.
Yeah, no, it's okay. In the back row here, Hemke, stand up please. Who played one of the Castro's revolutionaries. Who else is back here? Rubén Rabasa, dear old friend who played Piti de Porras, who was Batista's yes man in the picture. Anybody else back there? No? Richard Yawn, who's one of our sound designers in the movie. Richard, stand up, please. Right there. Did all the sound work in the picture. Jeff Williams, my assistant editor. Jeff is here. Where are you? There you go. Is that everybody? Everybody?
Anybody here
Am I missing anybody?
Anybody not working on the film?
Kathy Fisher, my associate and assistant at Citizen, right there. Where is she? Kathy Fisher. I can't see that cover. Mr. Stan Rosenfield, publisher of the movie. Mr. Stan Rosenfield. Okay.
The valet at the lunch time. And Andy Garcia.
You don't make movies alone, you know, and you need the support of a lot of people to get you through the day, to make the days. And so, you know, these people, we're all very proud of this movie, and they've all seen the movie 1,000 times, and we're still here, you know, using these opportunities to get together and to reflect and share. So, you know, this is an important film for us, and we don't take it lightly.
And it's also a testament to you that they would still come out after seeing the film so many times. They're still coming out to support you.
They're still waiting on the checks.
Yeah. They're here for their money. Okay. But let's talk about the movie. I remember hearing you say that the inspiration of the film and everything else was about, it first started with music.
Yes.
And music to you was so important. Talk about that for a little.
Well, music has been, as a Cuban exile, music is a thing that I've always found solace in. It's something that has accompanied me all through my life, and it's something that I'm very stimulated by. And not only the music of Cuba, I mean, all kinds of music that I grew up with, but there was always something that was very profoundly nostalgic to me with the music of Cuba, and it really provoked a lot of memories for me, and I was always fascinated about that time period, which, when I was born, and it was really the golden era of Havana, the 50s, and it just kept provoking these things inside of me, and when I began to realize that there was a movie that I wanted to make, and which had all these classical elements of all the great sort of historical epics that I grew up with, you know. And it was a politically vibrant time, at the brink of revolution, about family struggles, about impossible love, and having all this music and dance of the culture to set it against. I just thought that all these things would be a great stimulating tool for me, but it always was really always to use music as sort of a main protagonist in the film, and that's what motivated the film for me. And then when I read Infante's work for the first time, and I saw that his work focused a lot around the folklore and the music of Cuba and the ambience of that time period, I found an inspirational, writing source, and I was lucky that he came on board. I went to his house in the Dominican in London to pitch him the idea. This is 1989.
And for people who don't know his work, what has he done?
I mentioned earlier that his most important novel that he got known for was called Three Trapped Tigers, Tres Tristes Tigres, and before his death he was given the Cervantes Award, which is the highest award in Spanish literature, and so he was an extremely important individual. Not only one of probably the most intelligent and well-read and intellectual individuals that I've ever come across in my life, but also had an extraordinary sense of humor. He was sort of like a Cuban Groucho Marx, And his style of writing had all these sort of interpolations and puns and parodies, and he was a wordsmith. He had a gift of both in English and in Spanish. And when I went to visit him in London to try to sort of convince him to write this screenplay, he had a flat in London, which he lived in all his entire life in exile there. He left in about '66, so he saw the entire transition of the Cuban situation there, which he wrote about in our movie and in many of his novels. But he lived in a flat in London, and maybe the flat, a flat in London is basically a one-room. You walk into it, and it's a very rectangular room, maybe the length of this entire proscenium. But within this proscenium, you had the bedroom, the kitchen, and the main hall. And it was about a 15-foot high ceilings, because these are buildings that are row houses that were built probably, I don't know, turn of the century or something like that. So they're very high ceilings, and they've been turned into these apartments. So he sat in it, they introduced me, and he said, "Sit, let's have it, sit." And he had his writing desk, and he had a chair that he sat in. He had his ashtray, and where he smokes his cigar, and a screening room in front, like a little TV with all his, because he's really knowledgeable about film. And it was a very, so this distance was short, but it was longer this way. But behind him, the length of the floor and the entire length of the flat was a library filled with books that you couldn't fit any more books into. And then you had books that were stacked on top of the books sideways, where you had there was a little space this way, and he put books. And then there were books like around him in the chair, and he was just engulfed by all these books. And I saw this place, and I said, "Wow, this guy has a lot of books." And it was literally thousands of books. And once I got comfortable with him, I said, "Maestro, may I ask you something?" He says, "Have you read all of these books?" And he said, he has a cigar, he went, "Only once." And that's Gabriel Infante. And he's personified in the movie by Bill Murray. Bill Murray is Gabriel Infante, even though he's played as an American expatriate. That's Gabriel Infante's specific point, sense of humor, and he uses that character as sort of a Shakespearean fool, to comment as he would like to comment and parody the absurdities that are going on in the country.
So Bill Murray's character is almost like a Greek chorus that goes through.
Yes, exactly. And it's Infante saying, "I'm going to take an opportunity to provide some of my own absurdities, to what I witnessed and what we're going to witness in the film,
And I know he passed away. Did he get to see a final cut of it?
He saw the final cut of the film with all the temp music that was in, all the needle drops. The needle drops are the actual recordings from the era and stuff. And my temp score, which was solo piano, that hadn't been orchestrated yet, But he was very pleased with the movie, and that, he died shortly thereafter. But he did articulate to me how much he loved the film, and not only to me, but to close friends that then related it to me. So, I mean, you find a little solace in that, but it's difficult to think that he's not around to be with us and also to experience the journey of the film.
So 16 years in the making. I know we have filmmakers here. This is a Hollywood audience. I know there's people making movies out there. Something when they hear something like 16 years, it freaks them out. Was there any point when you said, maybe after year 8, that you know what, maybe I'll let this project go?
No, not really. Privately, no. I mean, all my friends will attest that we get together periodically, and they go, Willie would go, hey, what's the story of Lost City? When I said maybe this summer I have some working on some things that might come through. And I'm sure when I left, we were having a party or something, we talked. I'm sure when I turned my back and went to get a drink, they go, oh, poor him. Oh my God. Just the years would pass, and I just couldn't get any support, and you don't, you can't really, you never really know the specific answer to that because they always pass diplomatically, they don't, they say it's not for us, good luck, So you don't know why it is, but I just could never. And a lot of times, there's been a lot of very important movies that have gone through a similar struggle, as we know, that eventually got embraced by the industry. I, on the other hand, we made the movie out completely, like I said, outside of it. We did some pre-sales for it, and then we banked, Mr. Lopez, Mr. Gores were banked the film for us. I did a similar movie, which we did one of these sessions a couple years ago with Mr. Philip Martinez, Modigliani, and he's the same way. He banked the movie on the belief of the film without any pre-sales or anything, and Philip Martinez is the producer of Modigliani, a movie we did, and it takes that kind of vision and creative, chutzpah to make these movies, and I'm very appreciative of that, because they're unique films, It's not the standard fare, and through persistence. Mick Davis, who was our director in that movie, was with Modigliani for many years also, and it takes a person with guts and belief to support something like this. So.
Now, at what point did Bill Murray and Dustin Hoffman come on board?
Well, Dustin. Kind of late in the game, actually. I had support from other people that because of the scheduling fell out. Robert Duvall was going to be in the movie, and his schedule didn't work out. And he supported the movie from very early on. But Dustin came in about the last year. Already, when Johnny and Tom and I were already kind of formulating the process of saying we're going to make this movie. Let's figure out what the budget should be and all that. I talked to Dustin about it and wrote. The thing is that the part of Meyer Lansky was originally Santo Traficante, but in knowing Dustin as a friend, and I said, Meyer obviously ran Havana at the time, and he'd make a great Meyer Lansky. So I kind of said it to him casually at a Laker game, and I said, I have this part in this movie about Cuba, and he said, oh, sounds great. If I'm available, I'll do it. And I said, okay, I'm going to write the part for you. I sent it to him, and he says, feels good. It was 2 scenes, And he says, if I'm available, I'll do it. And he jokes to me and said, figuring I'll never be available, But when we finally went, he was available and he stepped up. And so I said, I could shoot you 2 days at the end of the schedule or whatever you like. And he said, okay, I'll do the movie, but you have to come to my daughter's wedding.
That's great.
So we shot 33 days. And it was the long weekend. It was like
Labor Day.
Was it Labor Day?
No, Memorial Day.
Memorial Day. Memorial Day? No, August, was it? You remember, Joe? When we came back for that wedding? It wasn't July 4th, was it? No. It wasn't July. No, we came back for the Oceans.
Yeah, it was August.
August. So we came back. I had to do 1 day on a Saturday to finish Oceans 13. So I shot 10 days on Oceans 12. They went to Europe and I went to do our movie. We prepped our movie in it's really 4 weeks. Technically it was 6 weeks, but we only had 4 weeks. We closed our bond for our movie 2 weeks before we started. Johnny and Tom Gores were sending personal checks to us in the Dominican Republic. when they went to Europe to shoot Ocean's 12, I went to the Dominican. We shot our movie in 35 days. They shot their movie
35
in
days.
85 days, yeah.
Wow.
And then, so I came back, I shot one last day on Oceans, went to Dustin's wedding, and then on Sunday we got on a plane, and on the way back we did some additional lighting on the two scenes. Dustin had this idea about the egg cream and all that stuff, and we incorporated that in the scenes. And he had a great time. He came by himself, no assistants, no entourage already, just showed up, he got paid $2,000 and he went home.